Hella Mel.
I just came out here to Shane Park to just stream and talk to you guys about the Nolan Wells situation. I be trying not to really tap in on it because at this point everything is just speculation, you know. But then I also try to have respect for the family because I know it must not feel good if every day you get online and you're just seeing images or everybody talking about someone that you love that's not here anymore. I really feel, and it's sad that nothing is gonna happen. Just it's not gonna. I'm not hoping that this happened, but the way that it's seeming, it's not really gonna be any justice for Nolan. You know, the type of system, type of world we live in. Money, power. You know, the hierarchy, and these people from these places, they've been set in their ways for so long that this is how they operate. And like I say, I'm not trying to incriminate nobody or, slander anybody or have defame anybody's character, but the good old boys, they probably gonna get away with murder, you know? And it's sad, it's really fucked up that they really probably gonna get away with murder. You gotta understand who these people are, who their parents are, the type of ties they got, the type of people they know. You gotta think about, just being real. Like, if you're in a high position and your son does something, you're gonna do whatever you can to make sure that your son is not implemented in a murder. And I think that's what we're dealing with, you know? It has to be, because how is it possible that they was looking for this boy for 2 full days? 2 full days they were looking for this boy. And after 2 days, they find him on the shore right where he was supposedly would have been last at. And that's just funny. That's just fishy, We're having knowledge of how the currents of the water, how waves, and how you got to tread in water just to stay in a particular same space. It just don't seem like that's possible. Then on top of that, you have to take in consideration that his mother said that she talked to Warren. She had a conversation with Warren because he called her and asked her, have she heard from her son? What's up, man? Go ahead, go to your parents, man. I'm recording the video. I'll come back and play with you once I get finished, okay? But I don't want you follow me, a grown up, so just go play and stuff. But once I get finished with this, I'll come back. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even know the little brother was following me. I felt something like he walking right behind me. But yeah, how is it possible that you call his mother asking where is he at and has she talked to him when you have his cell phone? That was kind of fishy. Like, if I got your cell phone, I'm quite sure I didn't saw your mother trying to call you, so I would know that your mother hasn't talked to you, His mother said he did not bring up that he has Nolan's phone, He didn't bring up that he had the phone until after she tracked the phone on, I guess, some type of app that they use on their phones called 360, Life 360. And that's how she was able to determine, like, oh, my son's phone is on land. My son's phone is on land, At this time, I don't even think she's even thinking like suspicious or nothing like that, because he's a grown man. He's just a grown man and she hasn't heard from him. But when she found out that these guys have her son's phone and they are not with him, that's when the speculation began. That's when the cautious the antennas rised up, like, what's really going on now, you know? So they say from out of their own mouths, they say that a friend of the mother, Mrs. Wells, a friend of her, Mrs. Wansley, I'm sorry, a friend of hers came and got the phone. Now, on the interview with Officer Tatum, I distinctly remember Warren saying that a group of 10 or more, and from for how they're describing, a group of 10 or more black people just burst into their house. Basically, Nolan's friends. Like, this what was a red flag to me too. Nolan's black friends come to the house going crazy, like, where Nolan at? They tell him, they pressing him. They telling him, where the boat at? We about to go to the boat, where his keys at? They pressing him, From my understanding, Nolan's real friends came and pressed them good old boys, And then they retrieved the phone. And then they retrieved the keys. Now, it's nothing wrong with them having his keys or them having his phone. But it just seems weird that you called his mother to ask if she talked to him when you have his phone. Also, in the Tatum interview, first Warren said that he wasn't there when they came to get the phone, but then he explained that he was there when they got the phone. And that was odd, just like, why are you, lying, And it also seems odd that just the way they're talking, the way they're, their body language, it just seems like, I could just tell, like my spider senses go off, like something is wrong, They keep calling him Nolan Wells. Go back and look at all their interviews. Every time they say this boy name, they say this boy whole full name. Who talks like that? Nolan Wells. It just doesn't sound right, I really think that it's a possibility that them good old boys gonna walk free for what they did. I don't know what they did, but they did something, You go and lawyer up, big lawyers, not just little 2,000-3,000 change. Big lawyers, you go lawyer up, big ass lawyers, Trump lawyers, all this stuff. Like, only hit dogs really holler, man. It just seemed like, something going on. Then y'all going doing interviews with a man that's basically anti Nolan Wells family, a guy that's disrespected his mother, a guy that's, I just don't understand that. They can't be his friends, They can't be his friends. They is not his friends. There's no way your friends would do that after you're dead. There's no way your friends after you're dead, they wouldn't be, even though they're men, so they're not probably going to be crying, but ain't no way that you're not going to be just, a little emotional while talking about your homeboy, who's your so-called best friend, Then on the interview, something stood out to me, because one thing I know is that all the person got to do is talk, and you will eventually tell on yourself, That's why the police tell you, don't say nothing. You got the right to remain silent, because when you start talking, you're going to tell on yourself. Did y'all hear on the interview with Tatum, when they was all on the couch, it was about 3 of them. I think this when the lawyers present. Did y'all hear that boy Jack say that when we was on the call, wouldn't you be able to notice, like, if Nolan was on the floor and he was, skirmishing and crawling? Why is your mind even depicting them type of images of your best friend? Like, it's kind of like, he basically giving a confession. That boy Jax basically gave a confession. That messed me up when I saw that, because when I heard it, I'm picturing as he's saying it, I'm just like, damn. Then I thought about it, like, what would make his friend just think that, Then they're going to say some, oh, if we was going to try to do that, well, we call the people don't talk like that when you're not wrong or when you're not involved in something, especially if your friend didn't die. You're not even thinking of no type of scenarios like, you're not even coming from that narrative. That's a guilty heart. When you speak those type of phrases, that's a guilty heart. An innocent heart ain't thinking that. You know, that's like a person, something come up missing out their house and you there. You know, you're not gonna be saying, "Oh no, oh why would I take it?" You don't give you ain't gonna say shit because you know you didn't take it. You know, I was born that night, but not last night. It just seemed fishy, y'all. Then the CTO call. That's what just made it. You know, after the CTO call, and after like a couple of days, and I didn't see no type of affidavits or no type of warrants or nothing being presented, you know, for these boys, I knew off then like they probably gonna get away with this shit, you know? Cause what more do it take, you know? They have an actual official call. This call wasn't made by no. This call come from the official, you know, Marine, however, Coast Guard, you know, this come from them. Even without the enhanced audio and bringing up the decibels and lifting up everything, even without that, just the original call by itself just proves that something is going wrong. Because why wouldn't you know how much water is coming into the boat? I don't care how drunk or how high you is, you can just look down and see, okay, a foot of water is up to my ankle, is up to my leg, is up to my thigh. You can just see that, you know? It wasn't never no water, you know? It wasn't never any water, you know? She asked him, how many people are on the boat? Then she switched up, she say, how many, are everybody breathing on the boat? That lady asked that because that lady heard what was previously prior being spoken. That lady ain't say that for no reason. How she said that? She said that because she heard the background commotion and what's going on. You know, that's why she asked that. Why else would she ask that? Is everybody breathing on the boat? How many? You know, she knew that. You know, and you could tell by his voice pattern of recognition how it changed up when she asked that. You know. Then the lady asked him because I understand that this is an emergency. If the boat is sinking and you're taking on water, in her mind, this is emergency. So her being the emergency, you know, service for the people in the waters, she say the first thing the first acquired thing that anybody would want a person to do. Do you want me to send the Coast Guards out there to you? He act like he can't understand everything else. He heard her say, "Do you want us to call that Coast Guard?" He immediately said, "No, no, no. Go back, y'all. Go back. Listen to how he said it. You know, listen to how he said it. Like no, don't bring no Coast Guard. You know." Then the lady get on the phone, says, "Y'all want the Coast Guard? All right, she'll go call the captain. He one of the head honchos of the water. He damn near like the Coast Guards. She about to call him out there. But guess what he tell her? Oh no, I just got off the phone with the owner of the boat. It's okay." You know, just bear with me, y'all. This happening while he's go back and listen, y'all. She's talking to the captain, and the captain is telling her, "Oh no, we've talked to the owner of the vessel. He's saying everything is okay. He's saying everything's okay. There's no need to worry or none of that. You know. This is why she on the phone with them. You know. Come on, man. If y'all sinking and y'all going under, but you don't know how much y'all going under, you don't want the Coast Guard to get there, you know, then the captain say, oh no, they straight. What made them straight? Why was they straight? You know, from when they initially called up until that time, what made them straight all of a sudden? Where they didn't need the the assistance from, the tow people. You know, a lot of stuff just don't make sense, man. You know? And I'm talking about we're not even gonna talk about the enhanced stuff. The Nolan, is he dead? Damn it, Bart. We're not even talking about that. We're just talking about the original words out of their mouths. You know, it just seems like it's not right. It don't sound right. It don't sound right to a good thinking brother like me. You know. Then once I find out who these people are connected to, who their parents are, oh man, you just know how it go. Like certain people ain't about to have their names attached to certain stuff. You know, they talk about these boys connected to senators and to the president, to all type of judges and different people, in high places, man. You know, they not about to, let this tarnish their name. They say one of the boy Bart, They say he about to go to NFL, y'all. You know? They say he about to go to the NFL. And it's kind of crazy that, wait, let me stop you. Everybody keep talking about this guy Bart. But I have not one time seen Bart. You know, don't y'all see, don't that seem crazy, y'all? Don't that seem crazy that Bart hasn't been seen? Bart hasn't did an interview. Bart, we don't even know what Bart looked like. At least I don't. I don't really know what Bart looked like, you know? You be on that though? We don't even know what your boy Bart looked like. We don't know how he looked. None of that. That's crazy to me, you know? Ain't nobody subpoenaed Bart. Ain't nobody, you know what I'm saying? Bart ain't nowhere to be found. They trying to say that, you know, and all this stuff is just speculations and narratives. Nobody really knows what happened. Everything we saying is speculation and just from what our common sense is, you know, building us up to believe. They say that the girl who they all, you know, his friends all say was the last person who he supposedly have been with and who he was, you know, talking to or whatnot. They never said anything, but from how they're talking, just my mind would think that he's kind of kicking it with this white girl, Katie. Now, news has come out that Katie is Bart's ex-girlfriend. You know, Bart, the big buff Bart, the rich young boy who about to go to the NFL. So just me knowing how to think, I know how I am with my exes. You know, I ain't gonna be no jive fake. I know how I am with my exes. Like, you don't feel right you see your ex with no man. I can imagine how a good old boy like Bart feel about seeing his girl with a black boy like Nolan. I can only imagine. This just speculation. This just how my mind think. I can only imagine how a good old white boy like Bart would feel. You know, a guy like Bart, privileged, you know, about to go to NFL, parents got money. Come on now. How you think he felt he see his ex booed up with Nolan? You know, this just speculate, you know. But Bart ain't nowhere to, we never saw Bart, no interviews or nothing, you know. They all just go to other friends just go to Officer Tatum, but we haven't seen Bart, you know. Some just seem like it's going on, y'all, like, you know. And if it is going on like how it seems, it's so sad to think that it won't be no justice for Nolan, you know, unless like the people do the, you know, like as far as like the courts and all that, it's probably not gonna be no justice for Nolan. If it wasn't nobody subpoenaed in or for depositions or nobody detained for questioning or none of that after they can't get his phone and car keys from these people, you know, after the CETO call, you know. After that, like, what more do you? It's just sad, but it's just the reality of America that we got to wake up and realize this how it is. So if we know this how it is, how's we finna be? You know, if we know this how it is, you know, what that's gonna do with how we be? Is we gonna change? Is we gonna start demanding certain things? Is we gonna start just reacting and start enforcing, you know, the law ourselves, or is we just gonna let people just do whatever they want to do to us and to our youth? That's the question. This Trust Me TV, y'all. I just wanted to take the time to tap on that. Like I say, I try not to even speak on that because it's a touchy situation, you know. But drop a comment. If you like the video, like and subscribe to the channel. You know, I'm gonna have this on Facebook, on Instagram, but it's officially on my YouTube channel, Trust Me TV. It's your boy 2G. I'm out, y'all.
You cannot be mad at me. 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 Fuck how I'm supposed to be. This is what it has to be. You cannot be mad at me. You cannot be mad at me.